Hi, Mom. What are you doing today?
Providence Place, owned by the Sisters of Providence, an ideal rental setting for retirees to continue their active, independent lifestyles. We have bright 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, a magnificent chapel with daily mass, restaurant-style dining, and wellness and entertainment programs. Call for a tour, 413-534-9700.
Mom, call me when you're not so busy.
Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel, Mercy Medical Center welcomes a new president. An East Longmeadow couple credits a Christian-based program with saving their marriage. And Dan Dumas tells us what's happening in the Diocese of Springfield. These stories and more are just ahead on this edition of Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel to Reel. We hope that you're enjoying your new year so far. Mercy Medical Center in Springfield has a new president. Deborah Bizzoli began her role at the helm of the hospital and its affiliates effective December 2nd, 2019. She replaces Mark Fulco, who resigned last September after 2 years as president. I sat down with Bizzoli during her first week on the job to learn about her vision for the future of healthcare here in Western Massachusetts. Deborah Bizzoli is no stranger to hospitals and the healthcare field. She said her mother, who worked in the emergency room, helped her to get her first job at age 16 as a dietary worker in a community hospital in Framingham, giving her some sound advice that she carries to this day.
When you go in with that tray for the patient, you're to focus on the person in front of you. You're not to think about schoolwork and think about how tired you are. The person in front of you is far worse off, and you're to think about them, Deborah.
Bizzoli joins Mercy with more than 25 years of experience in the healthcare industry and has spent the last 18 years in leadership roles. Most recently, she served as president of Morton Hospital, a 110-bed hospital in Taunton, Massachusetts. Prior to her tenure at Morton Hospital, she was the chief operating officer and executive vice president at St. Vincent Hospital, a 270-bed hospital in Worcester. Putting patients first has always been top priority on Bizzoli's list.
A primary goal for me to make sure that the experience for anybody that walks through the doors here at Mercy is one when we wrap around them and we take care of them.
So what drew you to working in the healthcare field?
What drew me into working in the healthcare field was really making a difference. And I have a very varied background. At one point, I ran 14 internal medicine practices for a large medical group in Boston. And that really gave me my understanding of primary care and how to operate on the office setting.
Bizzoli holds a Master in Business Administration from Babson College and a Bachelor of Science in Accountancy from Bentley University. She is a certified public accountant in the state of Massachusetts and is a member of the American College of Healthcare Executives. For a short time, she did work as a CPA.
And one day driving into Boston, I said, you know what, the debits and credits don't mean the same to me as working with people. So I jumped back into healthcare, and I really haven't left since.
While serving at St. Vincent Hospital, formerly run by the Sisters of Providence, Bizzoli said she continued to admire the sisters.
There was a beautiful nun there named Sister Mary, and she and I would touch base every day, and I would look into her beautiful blue eyes, and she always made things better. And here I am back at the faith-based, mission-based Sisters of Providence Hospital. So it's a joy, it's an honor and a tribute to be back on the faith-based and to have the advantage of being with the Sisters of Providence Hospital. Just to me is, I was meant to be here.
So you've only been here a short time, but do you have any goals that you've already decided on for the future?
I do. One of the key areas of focus for us is around the patient experience. And really understanding how the patient walks through the doors of the hospital and really making sure that any touch point, any staff member is really giving them an experience and responding to any need that they may have. We really want to make sure, again, that we have all the steps and all the programs in place to give the best experience to the patients and families that come here. So we have a new chief nursing officer, and she's working very closely up with the bedside nurses and the nursing directors. And then the second thing that we're looking at is where we can expand services and recruit new doctors. So we're very fortunate. We have a new vascular surgeon that's going to be starting in May, and that's an example where I want to be able to keep healthcare here locally within the community and really make sure that they have the services that the community is looking for.
And we certainly wish Deborah Bizzoli and Mercy Hospital all the best. News now of a statewide effort coming to educate parishioners on proposed Massachusetts legislation to alter certain aspects of abortion access. Joining me now is our own Springfield Bishop Mitchell Rozanski to tell us more about this important initiative. Hi, Bishop. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Hello, Sharon. Thank you.
Now, we are coming up on the final 6 months of the state legislative session, and you and your fellow bishops of Massachusetts are voicing your opposition to 2 bills currently under consideration that you say would significantly change Massachusetts law. What do you want to make your parishioners aware of?
Well, Sharon, first of all, the numbers of the bills are House Bill 3320 and Senate Bill 1209. And this is called the Roe Act. And what was originally proposed was that this legislation would take the place of Roe versus Wade if the Roe versus Wade Act was ever repealed here in the state of Massachusetts. However, this Roe Act for the state of Massachusetts goes far beyond what Roe versus Wade allows. It expands abortion coverage all the way up to 9 months. It allows minors to have abortions without the permission of their parents. And it also provides government funding for abortions. So far beyond what Roe versus Wade allows, the Roe Act here in Massachusetts is really a gross infringement against respect for life, particularly for the unborn and the preborn. And it even doesn't allow doctors to treat a baby who, as a result of abortion, may be born alive. And we just find that to be such an affront to the cause of life. And I want our parishioners, our people, to know that we need to voice our opinions on this.
And how can people in the pews help?
Over the weekend, we have placed letters and information about the Roe Act, asking people to call their legislators to let them know how we feel about this and to urge them to vote no on this Roe Act here in Massachusetts. Everybody has a voice, and we want our parishioners to truly use their voice in letting our legislators know where we stand.
All right, thanks so much, Bishop, and we will post a link with more information at iobserve.org. And for those without internet access, the bishops are asking people to call the Massachusetts Catholic Conference at 617-746-5630 for legislative contact information. And a reminder that the National March for Life in Washington, D.C. will take place on Friday, January 24th. Locally Pro-Life of Pioneer Valley, along with Pope Francis Prep, will sponsor a March for Life on January 22nd, the anniversary of Roe versus Wade. The march will begin with a Mass at 10:30 a.m. at St. Michael's Cathedral in Springfield, followed by a march downtown and then lunch back at the Bishop Marshall Center adjacent to St. Michael's Cathedral. For more information, you can email prolifepioneervalley@gmail.com. And still to come on Reel to Reel, Dan Dumas takes a look at the latest news from the Diocese of Springfield. And Carolee McGrath tells us about a couple who credits a Christian-based ministry with saving their marriage and their family. These stories and more are still to come on Reel to Reel.
The Chalice of Salvation, your weekly spiritual connection. I'm Brother Terrence Scanlon, your Chalice host. inviting you to take time out of your busy day and join us Sunday morning. We welcome Father Matthew Greedy as our Mass presider and celebrate the second Sunday in Ordinary Time. The Chalice of Salvation Sunday morning at 10 on 22 News, WWLP, and coming up next on Albany's Fox 23, WXXA.
Hi, Mom. What are you doing today?
Providence Place, owned by the Sisters of Providence, an ideal rental setting for retirees to continue their active, independent lifestyles. We have bright 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, a magnificent chapel with daily mass, restaurant-style dining, and wellness and entertainment programs. Call for a tour, 413-534-9700.
Mom, call me when you're not so busy.
Butcher, baker, candlestick maker. I didn't care what they grew up to be, as long as they were happy. To give up marriage and children just seems like too much to walk away from.
He seems to think he's making a real difference in people's lives, and he's so happy. Isn't that what's most important?
I never would have imagined our son as a Catholic priest.
Piety is one of the 7 gifts of the Holy Spirit. It's a word that, when it's used today, sometimes it's used in a negative sense. Sometimes we can be dismissive of someone and say, oh, they're so pious. And somehow we think that wouldn't be a compliment. Very much the opposite when we think about these gifts of the Holy Spirit that help us be able to imitate the life of Christ. And when we look at piety from a spiritual sense, it absolutely means the practice of devotion. So in a way, when we say that someone is pious, or when we say that piety is a gift infused in us at baptism, it's that urge to be able to practice giving God our time, giving God our love, but worshiping God, because that's what comes most naturally to us when we think about the person who has loved us first and loves us most. We talk often about these gifts of the Holy Spirit as habits, and so we would say that piety is the habit of making sure that prayer occupies a place in our life that makes it not only an obligation, but a desire. That we don't think, oh, I need to pray today because it's the right thing to do or because God asks us to do it. Both of those things are true, but rather the genuinely pious person is the person who doesn't have to be told that it's time to pray, but who desires to spend that time with God, who desires to show God his or her love for him and his or her desire to serve him.
I'm Dan Dimas with your Reel-to-Reel News Briefs. The annual Scouting Mass was held on a recent Sunday at St. Michael's Cathedral in Springfield. As Carolee McGrath reports, Scouting connects participants to their faith.
Springfield Bishop Mitchell Rozanski presided at the annual Scouting Religious Recognition Mass at St. Michael's Cathedral, celebrating the 65th anniversary of Catholic Scouting in the Diocese of Springfield. Father Yerrick Mendez, the Scouting chaplain, and Father Michael Wood, co-vocation director, were the concelebrants. Catholic Girl Scouts, Explorers, Venture Scouts, and Scouts BSA were recognized for their efforts in earning their religious emblems during the past year.
These scouts should be recognized and really acknowledged because this is not part of earning their rank. They do this above and beyond their rank for scouting. So the Girl Scout promises, I will serve God. The Boy Scout promises, I will do duty to God. So this is them living that faith.
7 scouts received the BSA Pope Pius XII Award given to scouts in high school, including Gabriel Simard. They must complete a program which often includes a retreat and youth-led discussions on issues facing the church and the culture. Samard is a Life Scout in BSA Troop 180 and a member of St. Elizabeth Parish in Ludlow.
With my group that I was in, I learned how basically our faith affects what we do every day, including like with our friends, families, and just how we act in general.
17-year-old Morgan O'Connor is a Girl Scout ambassador. She received the Father Bob Choquette Award. O'Connor, a member of Our Lady of the Blessed Sacrament Parish in Westfield, says Jesus is at the center of everything she does.
He sacrificed his own life to save everyone, for both past, his present, and future, so us. He made the absolute ultimate sacrifice in order to save the human race. I mean, that's pretty big if you think about it.
Morgan is now working toward her Gold Award, the highest award given at the ambassador rank. Bishop Rozanski commended the Scouts and their families for serving God in their community, and he explained how Jesus told the disciples to always be prepared.
Jesus tells his disciples so often that the way in which we are prepared to receive him when he comes back again is the way that we're able to reach out to our brothers and sisters who are in need.
And helping those in need remains the mission of the Scouts Gathered. In Springfield, I'm Carolee McGrath.
And finally, a heartwarming story for you, as Santa made a stop just before Christmas for the children of the after-school program at the Gray House in Springfield, along with a very caring riding group. Nick Morganelli tells us more.
St. Nicholas arrived at Springfield's Gray House in style. With the help of the local fire department, children greeting him with excitement and anticipation.
Merry Christmas! So we do a really big toy drive and adopt a family program. Last year we gave out 805 wish list items to kids in the community in need. All of the children in our Kids Club after school program put together wish lists for Santa, and we also encourage them to suggest what their siblings would like from Santa.
Ida!
Wow!
Ada's siblings know she likes science.
And she got socks with
Making
bracelets, and I got slime.
Aging out of the program, Ada now assists younger children who attend.
I help the kids with activities and homework,
Our after-school program serves up to 20 children in the north end of Springfield. They're in grades 2 through 5. So we do have open positions now and are looking to fill some of those spots come January after the holidays. They'll get academic support. They do fun activities together, team building, and really help them build some of their skills, confidence, and leadership skills that we know will help them in the future. Then we work really closely with some of the shelters in our community, the local elementary and middle schools, just to get some of their highest need families and be able to provide them with those wish list items.
The Iron Horse motorcycle riders have been part of this special day since 2003.
Our year consists of 2 rides to raise money for the Gray House and the Shriners Hospital Wings of Angels. Go out and buy the gifts, wrap them, and then we bring them here with Santa on the first Sunday of every December. We all have kids and they're all grown up, so now we found out, let's go out and do something for other kids that are in need, and it's a joy.
3, 2, 1, go! But when they get to open something that they specifically ask Santa for, it's just amazing for the parents and the kids and all of us as a community to be able to be a part of that.
I think it was like 5 years ago, one kid took his present home because that was going to be the only gift he would get. So they put it under the tree. So that's why we keep doing this. It's all about the kids. That's what it's about.
This day was about giving children a gift, but CJ had something else he treasured.
What do you like best about Christmas, CJ?
That you can spend time with your family and your friends.
Sharing Christmas joy in Springfield, for Real to Real, I'm Nick Morganelli.
And remember, you can always stay informed on all the latest news in the Catholic Church locally and beyond by logging on to iobserve.org. There you can read articles written by our Catholic communications staff, as well as view archived episodes of Reel to Reel. That's iobserve.org. I'm Dan Dumas, and those were your Reel to Reel news briefs.
"2019. What a year of great performances, and what a year of great films. Let's take a little trip back. First, Renee Zellweger gave the performance of her life as legend Judy Garland in the film Judy. She became the icon right before our eyes. This performance has Oscar written all over it.
Now, on you go.
Also, Adam Sandler gives an uncut, perfect performance in the film Uncut Gems. Yes, the film is vulgar and tough to watch, but it really is the best acting performance this year. Wow.
This is me. This is how I win.
I also loved Laura Dern in Marriage Story. As a killer lawyer, she gave heart to a ruthless lady that would do anything for her client. Her best work yet.
All right. Well, those are fighting words, and it's simply false and does nothing to further this settlement.
Brad Pitt will walk home with an Oscar for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Pitt gave a look into a soul of a man who was really on the edge, but trying to keep it all together. Absolutely perfect.
Hey! Don't you forget it.
The film Richard Jewell gave us Oscar winner Kathy Bates digging deep to show us a mom who will do anything for her son. Bates shines on the screen like the sun. Bravo, Miss Bates.
Mr. President, please clear my son's name.
I also love the film Waves, about a family trying to keep it all together and what a family is like under pressure. The remake of Little Women, for me, was a top film to watch this year. Everything about this film worked. Also, Greta Gerwig's direction was spot on.
I'm so sick of people saying that love is just all a woman is fit for. I'm so sick of it.
And now my choice for this year's best film, 1917. This wonderful war epic was perfect to watch. I couldn't keep my eyes off the screen. This was a hard choice to make, because I also love The Irishman and Little Women. But in the end, this really was the best film of 2019.
We've got orders to cross here. That is the German front line.
And you can see my reviews, as well as read other movie reviews, provided by the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops online at iobserve.org. That's iobserve.org. The next time we meet, we'll be talking about the Majestic Theater in West Springfield and their production of Death Trap, followed by the Hartford Stage, Theater Works, and the fantastic season at the Bushnell in Hartford. I'm Mark Giza for Real Culture. Have a fabulous weekend.
And finally today, Retrovi is a Christian-based ministry for married couples struggling in their relationship. Carolee McGrath introduces us now to an East Longmeadow couple who credits this faith-based program with saving their marriage and their family.
At Our Lady of the Blessed Sacrament in Westfield, people gathered for Mass, sharing in the sacrament of the Eucharist. At the end of Mass, Father Dan Pekalik called attention to another sacrament Jesus gave the Church, marriage. Kathy and Russ Held, married for 25 years, informed people about a program that saved their marriage. It's called Retrovi.
So the ministry's been around for about 40 years. It started in Canada, and it's been here in New England for about 25.
Kathy and Russ, who belong to St. Michael's in East Longmeadow, are the coordinators for the Retrovi program in Western Massachusetts and Connecticut. They met in college, quickly fell in love. They say everything was great until life got a little hectic in 2005. Their boys were little, ages 2, 5, and 7. From playgroups to sports to running a household and juggling work, Kathy and Russ passed like ships in the night. Kathy worked days and Russ worked nights.
Part of it was the opposite work schedules, but things just got trickier, and we found ourselves at a point where we just weren't feeling good about our marriage.
And with the mounting pressure of family life and work, they reached a crisis point, as many couples do.
Our good friend, Sister Mary McGeer, gave us a brochure and said, I don't know very much, but this program is available called Retrovi, and you might want to look into it. So we did.
Catholic in origin, Retrovi has 3 components, including a weekend retreat led by a priest and 3 couples who have overcome conflict in their own marriage. There are 12 follow-up sessions and monthly support meetings called CORE, or Continuing Our Retrovi Experience. St. Joseph is the patron saint of the program. Both Kathy and Russ say they explore the possibility of divorce.
Do you think a lot of people are in that spot, like who end up, getting a divorce? Do you think, like maybe deep down they probably do want to save it, but it just seems so overwhelming?
It's tough to find support. It's tough to know what your life's going to look like in 5 years or 10 years or 15 when I'm on one side of the soccer field and she's at the other, and who's picking up kids, and just the logistics of life. I think the big deal is people just don't know who to reach for support.
Kathy and Russ have made it their mission and ministry to help other couples.
There's still a reason you fell in love with in the first place. That same person is still in there, and your life kind of gets in the way and changes a little bit over time, but there's still all the qualities of why we fell in love in the first place. And
Retrovi means to rediscover, and it's there if people want to rediscover what they had.
Father Dan says he's recommended the program several times and says it's often hard for couples to remember that there's a third party in the marriage.
I tell couples when we do a wedding, you're choosing to make God the third party in your marriage. And because you're doing that, he commits. He'll never forsake you in that. He will be with you if you can remember that he's there.
The Helds are hoping that by sharing their story and being so open about their struggles, that they'll encourage other couples on the brink of divorce to give it one last shot and to allow Jesus to heal them and their marriage.
And we have couples who come who are separated. We have people with divorce papers in the car. It's going to be happening on Monday, that type of thing. And couples are welcome if they're separated or even divorced. They're still welcome to come to our program. And we have a young couple who just attended who did get divorced and thought we just didn't try hard enough, and we still love each other, and they came and they're doing beautifully now.
Kathy and Russ say couples just need to give God a little room and he'll take care of the rest.
We needed to be open, and we were open, and we just feel very blessed that we allowed God in and to do what God does so well.
The Helds will celebrate their 26th wedding anniversary in June. Reporting for Reel to Reel, I'm Carolee McGrath.
And we have a link with more information on Retrovi at iobserve.org. For this week, that's Reel to Reel. Thanks so much for watching today. Remember, for more updates anytime, you can find information and news on the Catholic Church, both here in the Diocese of Springfield and around the world, on our news and information site, iobserve.org. We are also on Facebook, updating daily while our reporters work on stories for Reel to Reel, so check us out and friend us at Catholic Communications. We will see you next week from St. John the Baptist School in Ludlow as we celebrate Catholic Schools Week in the Diocese of Springfield. So join us then for another edition of Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you.
Reel to Reel is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.